Why?
Pokemon trainers finally made it back, and I'm pumped because, in my opinion, he's the most interesting character in the whole series. He's 3 characters in one. 3 of them! And if you see me in the past, you know that I do have trouble picking a main, so being able to pick one that can actually be 3 at the same time, and be able to swap mid-match while also covering all basic character archetypes, is really irresistible for me to pick up and play. And honestly, if you're someone that just loves Pokemon, or you find yourself switching mains all the time, he may be the perfect character for you. So as you're hearing, I'm hyped up for Pokemon Trainer in general, but especially for his update in Ultimate, because, well, he had this awesome character concept in Brawl, but he just kinda sucked. None of his Pokemon had great frame data, the moves were too small or too slow, and switching between them took like legitimately 2 seconds, so that wasn't really a great option as well. Yeah, doing his main mechanic was a bad option. Yeah. In Ultimate, it seems like this is all behind us though. The trainer himself has gotten a ton of positive mechanical changes in general, and I think he's going to be a much more viable pick now. In addition, all their Pokemon do their jobs now, instead of Squirtle just being the best almost all the time. The trainer seems to be finally in a good place, and while it doesn't look to have any extremely overpowered Pokemon or anything, they look at least all about level 50. For more future information on Pokemon Trainer, if you want, subscribe for future videos, as I'll be giving any more updated information we get on them, and as well, information on every character in the game to boot, along with more advanced guides on Pokemon Trainer and tips on them as the game comes out. Anyways, Pokemon Trainer has a ton of changes, like really, a ton of them. The mechanics of the trainer himself have been altered, and each of his individual Pokemon have been altered to boot. With that in mind, I'll be going over first the trainer, and then each of his Pokemon starting from Squirtle. To begin, the trainer doesn't fight hand-to-hand like in previous games, but he's gotten a lot better at changing his Pokemon quickly. If you look back at Brawl, you'd see that whenever the Pokemon trainer tried to change Pokemon, you'd be punished just about every single time, unless you just killed the opponent. In Ultimate, however, changing Pokemon now just takes a little bit longer than air dodge, and it still gives you a lot of invincibility, so in the end, it's finally usable, making its kit flow together a lot better, and also making so that its playstyle actually works how I think it was intended to work. Secondly, as the trainer now, your Pokemon no longer get tired after being in battle for a while, which was again a thing that happened in Brawl. If you want to, you could technically just use one of them the entire fight, or swap them out all the time. It's not really a forced thing anymore, and this is especially great if you're just interested in maining one of the Pokemon. At this point, you could easily main just Ivysaur, or just Squirtle. Now, I wouldn't recommend it, but you definitely could. And the final universal change for all his Pokemon is that now they all have a 3-frame jump, just like everybody else in the game, which specifically helps Ivysaur and Charizard a lot, because in the past they took a long time to get into the air, and now they can have a lot better air mobility. So those are the main points for the trainer. But now let's move on to the actual Pokemon that he's going to be throwing out. First off, Squirtle. The most noticeable thing about Squirtle is that he is much quicker now. His running speed was upped, along with a nice cool little animation. This lets Squirtle act even more as a rushdown type character, as it's just harder to get away from him, furthering his use in that character archetype. To add to this, he also got a new down tilt that is extremely fast, and it seems like a pretty good combo starter, which will work even better now with his speed. A weird change to him is that his up smash was actually buffed in just about every way, from speed to hitbox to knockback, and this finally gives Squirtle a reliable kill move. But it's something that I didn't really expect them to add to a character that is so similar to someone like Pikachu or Sheik. Finally, you got his special moves, and Sakurai made so that they're a bit better now. His side B is now much faster and has much higher priority, making it like a pseudo spin dash, and Sakurai made Squirtle's water gun push opponents much further back than before, giving it the ability to sometimes kill people off the blast zones off stage now. Moving on to Ivysaur, he's probably got some of the most mallow buffs out of all of them, and personally I was hoping for a lot added to him, but this is what he's got. On the ground, his F tilt is a bit longer now and does a bit more damage. His jab has a finisher now, and his down tilt hits twice, and as well, his down smash got a bit of a range buff. In the air, he got a new Nair animation, and a change which makes it seem like it's a little bit more reliable, keeping the opponent in it and in the air, but it still seems really wonky and not that useful, and as well, his Dare got a buff, making the whole thing a gigantic sweet spot, allowing for a much more consistent spike off stage, which is very appreciated. To his specials, his neutral B's Bullet Seed now has a finishing hit similar to his jab, and the seeds are a bit larger. As well, his side B Razor Leaf is much faster now, making it usable, and can be thrown with a smash input similarly to Samus's Super Missiles in order to throw the leaf a lot faster. These two changes give Ivysaur a bit more use as a spacing character, while just making him feel a lot better to use. Finally, his grab was buffed so that there's less lag, a nice but simple change. And overall, I think that Ivysaur got a few things that are going to help, but I wish there was just a bit more added to him. Personally, I would have liked a new neutral B that could be used in addition to his Razor Leafs to space. That would have, I think, made him a lot stronger of a character, but for now, he just seems kind of okay. Lastly, we got Charizard, and like Squirtle, he's got a lot of nice stuff, but it's pretty basic. Let's start with his general mechanic changes. First off, his initial dash speed is much faster now, letting him dance around the map a lot easier. Secondly, he now hangs onto the ledge with one hand instead of two, so now his face isn't poking above the ledge. Now, this might not sound like that big of a change, but what it does mechanically is makes it the opponent can't hit you with just about any smash attack whenever you're holding onto the ledge. It's a very nice change. And then, of course, thirdly, his second jump in the air is now just as fast and just as high as his first jump, making it so that you can jump much higher as Charizard and just giving him overall more vertical mobility. Now, to his grounded moves, he got a buff on his up smash, making it so that it now actually works. Now the opponent won't be falling out of it all the time. This gives Charizard in the new game a fast, reliable kill move that's going to kill very early and it just can catch a ton of opponents off guard. Honestly, he should have had this in the last game, but didn't, and I think this is going to be one of the key components about his kit in Ultimate. In the air, he also got a very nice buff, which is all of his aerials got a buff to their landing lag, so they're a lot quicker now. And specifically, his Nair has been sped up drastically, increasing the combo potential and just making it a lot more safe on shield. These landing lag changes on Charizard are very noticeable and will give you a lot more opportunities to go for killing options in the air, which I think is the main thing he's going to be looking for. And speaking of those options, his Fair also got an increase in knockback, and his Bear, which is one of his best killing moves, got an increase in vertical range. Now Charizard just has plain out better options to approach in the air, and better options to kill in the air. So yeah, that's really nice. And finally to his special, his up B now connects quite a bit more reliably, but doesn't really kill anymore, which kind of sucks. What does kill early though is his new side B Flare Blitz, which I guess is the same side B, but what's new about it is that it kills much earlier, has much higher knockback, and does way more damage to shields. And at this point, Charizard is honestly looking pretty ridiculous. So now that long-winded explanation for all the buffs of these characters is kind of out of the way, let's talk about very general playstyles for all of them, and kind of how their playstyles are going to intertwine, starting again with Squirtle and then moving on down. So with Squirtle, he is a very highly rushdown focus type character. He does low damage per attack, but has good frame data, aka his moves don't have that much lag, so you can use them very often, and generally are pretty safe on shield, kind of similar to Pikachu or Sheik. His speed allows for him to stay in and get in, and especially with his new buff for his dashing speed, it makes it almost impossible for the majority of the cast to even try to escape him. As well, he's been gifted and cursed with a tiny hitbox and attacks with tiny hitboxes. This makes it that it is hard to hit him, but he can't really space worth a crap, and again, this kind of makes you go ham. Ivysaur's in many ways is kind of the opposite. He's a bit slow, kind of big, and has a good deal of lag on all of his moves. The main shebang about Ivysaur though is what Squirtle kind of sucks at, his spacing. Ivysaur has a very nice projectile to start doing this, force the opponents to approach him, that being his side B, and as well, his tilts, his Fair, and his Bear are all very good at spacing, and while he doesn't hit too hard, they do a good amount of damage, and they do have disjointed hitboxes, making him in some cases play actually kind of somewhat to a sword character. That, of course, needs to be a bit closer, so I guess maybe a little bit like Chrom. Finally, for Charizard, he's just the big hitter. He's got a variety of killing options at his disposal, from his Bear, to his Fair, to his Up Smash, to his Flare Blitz. He's the guy that you want to go into if you want to finish off a kill. He's got some problems getting consistent damage, he gets comboed pretty hard, and he's pretty darn slow. But he's fat, so he's hard to kill, and again, he's got a lot of killing options, so he's pretty good to switch in at the end, especially with his new changes. So, how do you actually mix all of these playstyles together? Well, I think honestly it's pretty intuitive, and I really, applaud Sakurai for this, but I think the main way you want to do it is one of two ways. Firstly, you might want to choose going with Squirtle. Go in, get some combos, do a lot of damage, and then swap to Charizard eventually to finish off the kills when you can't kill them with Squirtle. As well, you might want to start off by swapping to Ivysaur, playing him for the majority of the match, spacing the opponent if they're a slower character that really has no way to deal with it, no way to get in, and then again, switch off to Charizard to go for the kill. Of course, if you want to, you can mix all three characters all the time, but it seems like these strategies have essentially been what the majority of players did in Brawl, so I'm assuming it'll kind of be similar. Now, as you can see, these Pokemon easily link into each other. One often covers the other one's weakness, and I think with this in mind, he's going to be a pretty good character just to main and play in almost any matchup, as long as you can figure out what your opponent's doing, figure out what you have to do against them, and what Pokemon are going to be the best for each situation, which might take a while to learn honestly, but I think it's going to be very rewarding in the long run. Luckily for you, there are many places to try out these characters, from Brawl or Project M for Squirtle and Ivysaur, to Smash 4 if you want a more updated Charizard. While these won't be exactly the same, they're still quite similar and will give you a good idea about how each plays. What I recommend from there is to first pick one of those games and then try out all the Pokemon and see which one's your favorite. After you kind of have an idea for that, go into the lab and practice with that Pokemon and grind them for a little bit, at least 2 to 3 hours. See what they can do in general, get a good feel for them, and if you want to, look up some guides for them online. The purpose of this is that it'll give you a good foundation on one of the Pokemon before the game comes out, and if it's already out, it'll give you a good foundation on at least one of the characters that you're going to be playing, and mainly it'll give you a crutch pick to play as you're spending your effort trying to learn the other ones as well. Now from here you have really 3 options. A is to just decide to play that one Pokemon and improve probably at the fastest rate because you are essentially just playing one character. B, play 2 of your favorites and learn how they complement each other, which will take a little bit more time but be really useful in matchups. Or C, learn all 3 and put in the time to learn all 3, which will take a long time to get good at, but it will definitely have the best long-term results. It's all really up to you. You can be okay with spending a ton of time on the game to get good, or you can just try to take the faster route, but lose a lot of potential in the long run. Now, I do need to say that you can just main one for a few months, and then slowly decide to learn the other one, and then the third one, which I would personally recommend, as it's just kind of a mixture of the 2 ideas, but again, that's still up to you. It'll give you one that's far superior than the others that you're probably going to be using the most, but still give you the options to use the other ones if you want to. Again, though, it's kind of up to you. I would recommend doing this, though, mainly because it's going to be far less frustrating. Because if you try to learn this character all at the same time with all 3 characters, you're either going to have a lot of fun or get very frustrated. While if you do this, you can kind of have a bit of both, and that's why I recommend, starting slow and ramping it up pretty quickly. And there you go. These are all the reasons why you should be maining Pokemon Trainer. Now, if you have a certain character you want me to cover next, comment hashtag the character name, why you should main, and hit the subscribe button / the notification bell if you actually want to see the guide when it comes out, because otherwise, whatever. And as well, to see an advanced Pokemon Trainer guide when that comes out. If not, comment what parts of Pokemon Trainer you really like and what parts you think have changed in a positive way, because that could be pretty cool to discuss as well. Anyways, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that like button or click on the screen for a playlist on other Smash Ultimate videos, specifically why you should main on Inkling. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.